Hello, everybody. Welcome to SketchCraft Live. I'm Rob Duenas, graphic artist Esquire, and if you're just joining in for the very first time, you should know that I typically rant about art, movie, and comic-related news stuffs, chosen by either you, myself, or the repeating music, which I always seem to turn off, and it doesn't. It's amazing, folks. Anyhow, chosen by myself or you, the audience. Joining me today is Brandon, Let Heavy James. Brandon, say hi.
Hi.
And Ashley, Gang Feather West. Ashley.
Hey,
Hey, she's back. All right, cool. Man, every week I turn that repeat off. I will get that down. I will
I
get
kind
that
of
down.
I kind of like that you forget. It's kind of like a running joke almost.
I don't know why. It's the strangest thing. Like it's set, then it. I don't know. I'm gonna come up with a new plan, folks. Anyway, so we got a lot to cover today. I want to talk about something we left off last week. If you didn't catch last week's show, folks, please go check it out. It's called Deadpool Origins. I'll have Brandon put a link to it in the commentary below when he posts the stuff up. Right, Brandon?
Yep.
Yeah, write that down. So, but basically, we had a conversation about the origins of Deadpool, and that Rob Liefeld sort of gets sole credit or somewhat sole credit, slightly share with Fabian Nicieza, the original writer on New Mutants. Um, but that I sort of felt, and I don't know if you folks agreed. Did we all agree, or was there just like a general, why not? You know, like
It was a mixed agreement.
Brandon's afraid. Ashley, did you think I was right, or did you think it doesn't matter, or
I
you
don't
don't
know.
care?
I mean, that's the thing is, I kind of think it. I get what you're saying, but I'm in the boat where I just don't give a lot of thought to that kind of thing. But
Right.
I mean, but it is a good. It I do understand where you're coming from. Like, it is noticeable. So
Sure. So basically, I'm the only one who cares, and and Brandon's afraid to care, and Ashley, like most people, well, one way or the other, it doesn't really matter. Um, that being said, uh, the idea was that Joe Kelly should get co-creation for Deadpool, being that the version of Deadpool we all seem to know and love is the fourth wall breaking, wisecracking character. I mean, that's basically the whole point. Like, if we just want a Deadpool who fought and killed people, we got that in X Men Origins, if you saw that movie. And no one wanted that Deadpool. So, we posted the video, and then I had Brandon do. Brandon, you got some chores, right?
Yeah.
What do
I'm I'm usually the guy who will post things on the Instagram and Twitter and from my end of, the pictures and just kind of for some reason whenever I post something, I seem to get a reaction from stars, celebrities or the people that I tag in there.
I think Brandon, you look like an easy target to them. Like, I don't know. It's true though. Actually, like I used to do this and no one would care, but the minute I have Brandon do it, we get all sorts of feedback, and it
Oh, we
basically
get
ruins Brandon's life.
yeah, I
Like,
saw it. I saw the post. I was like, dang. Okay.
it's happened more than once.
yes, it's. I love this. So Brandon does it, reluctantly. I might add. I could tell he was hesitant. And sure enough, Brandon, what happened next? You tell the story.
Okay, so I posted a new YouTube video up. If you go to my Instagram page, you'll see I put link in the bio, and I tagged Marvel, Deadpool, and Rob Liefeld. And within posting it, maybe 2 minutes later, Rob Liefeld himself decided to post on my Instagram, and he says, with all due respect, the Deadpool story in the film does not exist in any comic. And the personality and jokes are distinctly Ryan Reynolds. And Rhett Reese slash Paul Wernick, sorry, nice try though. So I assume he's just saying, he's thinking that I'm saying that we already know the story to the movie, which he really didn't read what I posted because I posted that, we had a big discussion on how much credit Joe Kelly should receive. So I
In
rebutted
in
with
in total for the character, not for the movie.
right for the movie, for the character itself.
Being that the character that we know today is clearly influenced by Joe Kelly in Rob's opinion. Let's just put that in my opinion, not Rob Liefeld. So
Right.
you reply.
I'm a little nicer because
We'll
you know.
explain why. You reply
Okay.
nice
Okay. I
nicely.
replied. All the hosts of the cast was saying is you get credit like Bob Kane, Joe Kelly received credit like Bill Finger gets credit, and Rob, who's Bill Finger?
All right, so basically, your shorthand is ridiculous. I really should almost write these out for you, and you should post them. So basically, The argument is that recently Bill Finger started to receive co-credit for creating Batman. And Bill Finger was basically the guy that Bob Kane went to help turn his version of Batman into the one that we know. His version of Batman had a red costume. Didn't have a lot of things. Like Bill Finger added the Batcave, Alfred, the Batmobile, Joker, Robin, like
A lot of
all the shit that actually is Batman. The colors of the costume became blue and gray, and so and for the longest time, Bill Finger never got credit. But with BVS, Batman versus Superman, DC finally stepped up to the plate and said, you know what? We're giving this dude co-credit, which means his family gets some kind of residuals or some money, in the back end.
hmm
Family of Bill Finger. And so basically, being that the version of Batman we know was essentially co-created by Bill Finger, okay, Bob Kane came up with the initial idea. Bill Finger helped flesh this thing out, made it what we know and love today as Batman, the core elements. I said, well, how's that any different than Joe Kelly? Because as far as I'm concerned, whatever Fabian Nicieza created probably doesn't really matter much. Like he was just the guy writing the books, and Rob
Right.
said, "I got this character. It'll be kind of like Deathstroke or like Spider-Man and Deathstroke and got swords and shit." And so you were basically trying to clarify that to him, right?
Correct. I was saying, no disrespect. We're a fan of the character,
Which,
and
which, by the way, is true. I don't have any disrespect. If unless you think I dislike Rob Liefeld, you see
you,
this thing
he's right.
behind me right here, right? It's like all the original Image comic books, the first 12. That's Youngblood. If I can just move my finger right there, that's the first issue of Youngblood hanging right up on my wall. These are all the ones I bought when I was a kid. They're all right there. So I have lots of love, right?
Yeah. So we're
Youngblood,
fans,
folks. Like
and we were just saying that the character you created was made. Ugh.
co-created.
I'm always yeah. By Joe Kelly made the version we know more funny. The fourth wall breaking, etc. The character Ryan Reynolds is portraying is the one Joe Kelly helped to influence. And I said I don't know anything about the movie story. I'm just talking about the character itself.
Mhm.
So 9, 10 hours later, Rob Liefeld makes a post on his page,
Now
a
his
very
His
on his
Instagram page.
Instagram on
Okay.
his Instagram page.
Okay.
Um, it's a very long post. I don't know if you want me to read it, but basically breaking down who wrote what, when certain changes were made to Deadpool and his personality. Uh, just give you an example here. Later down the line, is what he says. Later down the line, writer Joe Kelly supplied his fourth wall breaking antics, giving him another appealing trait for fans to rally around. Then he goes on to say the upcoming film draws on several errors, but supplies a wholly original, fresh take on your favorite mercenary.
Several eras.
Yeah, oh, sorry, errors. Yes, um, I like that last line. Your favorite mercenary, because I ended my post with your favorite mercenary. But yeah, he went to write a whole thing about the whole breakdown of who the writers and artists were and their influences upon the character.
Which I find funny because not too long ago it was like, you everyone can thank me for making this guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's my guess is he knows and it's awkward. You know what I mean? He doesn't want the trouble because it is weird that the whole reason why they formed Image in the first place. I mean, Rob Liefeld came up with the name Image, the actual name, was over creator rights. Like this was a really when I was a kid, it was a very big deal because Neil Adams, the artist Neil Adams, who worked on Batman, Green Arrow, he represented the creators of Superman after that first movie came out, who were in squalor, living in a shantytown apartment together in New York in absolute poverty, and
Yeah.
managed to get them like not even a lot. It was like 100 grand or something, 125 grand in 1970s money. So it was like maybe 300,000 a piece, maybe at the time, maybe close to a half mil in today's money. Um, just to get them something for the creation of Superman, so they can have medical bills and not die, alone and
In that apartment.
in that apartment. Ever since then, it was like, okay, what about Jack Kirby? What about Stanley was an employee of Marvel. These different things, and Bob Kane, Bill Finger. So what what he's basically said was that he agrees Joe Kelly created the fourth wall thing, but that's just one of the many things we love about Deadpool. I still stand that that's the only reason that character stands out these days. Like that's it. Because I remember when Deadpool came out, it was basically looked like Spider-Man with swords. Like, okay, man, Spider-Man with swords, and he's
hmm
mutant. But it wasn't until the Joe Kelly run with Ed McGuinness that Deadpool took on. I mean, remember he even spoofed. Remember the one like this is when Pete Wood started. It was that they spoofed the cover of Spider-Man, and it was
Oh,
the Amazing Fantasy 15, and he's swinging with the guy, and he's got like a burrito in one hand and shit.
right.
I mean, like I was just like, oh, so this is what Deadpool is, man. This is hilarious, ha ha ha. Because I like humor, and it's like, wow, they actually made a funny comic. Who'd have thought? So I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it's cool that he responded to it. I imagine maybe someday if Joe Kelly ever presses for for back end rights, you know what I mean? Like, well, there you go. I just pointed to the Instagram. But I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about it, Brandon? What do you?
Uh, I didn't like one. I mean, it's cool in a way that he responds to people's Instagrams and comments. Two, it was very passive aggressive with the sorry, nice try though, because he didn't really. It didn't seem like he really read or cared what I had to say. He just felt
Are
like I
you
was a.
are you saying Rob Liefeld doesn't actually do his homework before he makes an opinion on something? You
I
know?
would I would say he's quick to respond without thinking it through. It seems, and I just think that if he would have just read it, he would see that, or even I doubt he has time to listen to it. But if you just read it, you would see it's coming from a place of fandom and not. I wasn't trolling him. I wasn't hating on him. I mean, I don't know the guy personally. I don't know him
Well, he
really.
felt the need to comment on it, like, which is the more important part. Like, wow, like he actually it got to him. Like,
Right. I once again I said something and a celebrity or artist
by the way,
took it
folks,
to heart.
Alan Moore did not co-create Supreme. Rob Liefeld's sort of Superman homage. Rob Liefeld made that, maybe with co-creation of Eric. I think Eric Stephenson might have had something to do with that. If I, it's memory. I don't Google this shit, folks. Um, but the version of Supreme that rules, that makes Supreme what we know today, if you've ever read the character, is Alan Moore. Rob Liefeld hired Alan Moore, which, hey, major props to Rob Liefeld for doing that at a time when Alan Moore was basically blacklisted
Yeah.
for, you know, his spat with DC. Alan Moore turned Supreme into something super fucking special, and because of that, we got a grip of Alan Moore shit, folks. I mean, all that stuff that he wrote at League of Extraordinary Gentlemen came out of that. So many things. And if Supreme got a movie today, I would expect Alan Moore to get co-credit. Whether Alan Moore probably wouldn't want it. He would, you know what I mean? I don't fucking care.
Yeah. He'd complain about it in a bar somewhere.
But he should, it should be thank you, Alan Moore, regardless, because I don't know, folks. Like for me, this has been the longest running debate in the history of my life concerning comics over rights of who created what. And I feel the only reason why artists are so reluctant to even like go into this battle is we all know it's a losing battle. The system is designed so that if you make anything for a company, they own it, you don't. It's called work for hire.
Right.
I think we're the only company in the world that does this. Next to the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union, and I bring this case up, anything you made in the Soviet Union was owned by the government. So the guy who invented Tetris never saw one dime from Tetris because technically the government owns Tetris. So I don't know. You go in Japan, the guy who made the manga that got popular, the publisher, the distributor doesn't own the manga. They might have a distribution or publishing deal based on that. But the fact that they get nothing ever, like the only place I know that exists is here. So folks, if I'm wrong on that, give me some feedback on how it works in other countries. But I know when I was in Europe, those cats, when they made something, they got something. And that's how people were able to live off for only producing a giant full prestige graphic novel once or twice a year in Europe because they were seeing actual money from the sales of those novels. Versus in this country where we basically pay people, fucking $20 to go make them, the next whatever character, and they don't get shit. So I don't know. I just with this particular topic, I guess I'll be arguing about this into my grave. Concern, but I just think the guys at Image the guys who founded Image should never be on the side of not giving creator props. You know what I mean? At the very least, just
Right.
props. So I don't know. We've ranted about it long enough. Ashley, do you have anything to say about this? You don't have.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Outside looking in at me posting him saying stuff. What do you?
I mean, I think you handled it really well.
Who did?
I mean, you did.
Oh, okay.
I think you did handle it really well because I was like, wow, that was real. I would have been like, I don't know. Like I wouldn't have known what to say. And maybe that just comes with age. I don't know, but
It comes with me
So-
telling them, tell them this, tell them that.
Okay.
Well, no, I wrote this part without Rob's influence, but Rob would have been a little more more stern as to where I'm more a little held back sometimes when it comes to talking to the
See, yeah,
pros.
you're interjecting. I did tell you what to write. You definitely covered your ass a little bit more because Brandon's afraid that he'll get blacklisted from these cons that we go to. Since Rob Liefeld's a
Yeah.
big part of con circuits and the guys that host them, Brandon's like, you'll complain and we'll get in trouble. And I'm like, I mean, then I have to lecture Brandon on like, look, we're paying to have a booth. No one's giving a shit. I don't really understand. Look, if Rob Liefeld gets us blacklisted from Comic Cons, then I will be the first guy to go on the internet and make that a fucking case. I don't think Rob Liefeld cares. So Brandon
So
gets all scared. But whatever.
I am more protective sometimes of what's going on.
I understand. I feel that too. Like I side with Brandon on being protective. I understand that. So, you
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I don't care.
know.
I'm already blacklisted. Fuck it. You know
Rob,
what I
yeah,
mean?
Rob's at the point in his career where he don't care.
I don't care.
He's had ups and downs and he's been fucked over, so he's got the
Yeah.
right to be more outspoken.
What
And
am I gonna do? I mean, what's Liefeld gonna say? Well, Liefeld's gonna come up and go, "You said Joe Kelly should get co-created on Deadpool. Fuck you." You know what I mean? What's the
oh,
argument?
that'd be
Like,
so awesome.
could see you say that's awesome, but then you'd be afraid to tell him that would be awesome. That I don't understand, Brandon. You know what I mean? Look,
No,
when I was a kid, I went to Comic Con and I didn't mean to do this, but right in front of Bob Harris, the publisher of Marvel, stood right there, looked at the Rob Liefeld art for Captain America: Heroes Reborn, and said, "Whoever hired this guy should be fucking fired." And then Bob Harris is, and I look at him, and I look at his badge, because whenever at cons I've learned to look at people's badges, and it said Bob Harris. I'm like, it was you! You hired him! Fired. Laughing. And he was fired like a year later. So,
I usually am more
it's
like
not true. It's like 10
if
years
someone were
later.
to say something to me in person or something like that, I usually don't bite my tongue. I'm an asshole. That's a given. But when it comes to the fact that every time I seem to say something or post something, I get a reaction from these people. I'm like, fuck, it's me. I
But
gotta.
I mean, I don't see it's not a troll. Guys, I will never troll anybody on the internet. I will never like when we had the guy who we were saying, hey, you stole these people art, right? That guy
Right.
from Instagram. He got a hold of us and said he wanted to come on and rebut his point. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna come here and troll the guy. Like, come on and explain to
Right.
me.
And we made time for him to come on. I wasted a whole night waiting with
Yeah,
you.
you like the Great Pumpkin. He never appeared. So
Yeah.
like, and then did we come back on and trash talk the guy?
No, we
No,
just
that's
moved
not
on.
what I do. But I'm gonna sit there and ask a very valid point, and the point is, what is there to complain about? I don't like that you guys asked it. Well, all right, you know what I mean. So whatever. That being said, it was nice to see that with the internet we're pretty connected. And hey, props to Rob Liefeld for at least talking to folks. Most folks wouldn't even. Most
Right.
sane
Yeah.
individuals wouldn't say shit, really. So he's still kind of a normal guy, right? Like, essentially.
I mean, he's a dick, but he's at least he responds. I mean,
See,
it
look,
is.
you just called him a dick, and I don't know, like, like what you're
Well,
afraid.
the whole nice try though. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
yeah.
passive aggressive.
It's very passive aggressive. But that's total Liefeld. Anyway, let's move on. We talked about enough about this. Ashley, what would you like to talk about? You had a question concerning. You had a Photoshop related question.
Yeah. Okay. So the other day I saw Brandon post some flats of Casey Jones, for the Ninja Turtles that you're doing. And it was the flats were in like neon colors basically, and I was like, okay, so what does that mean? And so I'd like you to explain that.
Me or him?
Well, whoever
Brandon, why
wants
don't, why don't you take the time to explain why are your flats for the Casey Jones pick looking all neon?
Okay, so when I'm doing the flats for Rob, let's just say the Casey Jones thing, he has so much detail and so many things going on that if I were to try to mimic normal colors, browns, reds, things like that, I would get very confused and lost. So a lot of times when I'm doing the flats for him, I will do neon colors to kind of separate them. So like if there's a neon pink next to a purple, a dark purple, I see the difference in the area and I don't overlap. Um, Rob also showed me in the beginning to use a certain range of colors, like orange and browns, that would, when the value was changed, you would see the difference. But now Rob takes my flats and chooses the colors for himself. So now I just do the neon colors so it stands out in each layer different so that I know what I'm looking at. Otherwise, I'll get all confused because there's so many lines in his art.
His
I don't.
designs
Right.
are essentially made to be selection flats. I don't let him pick the colors
Mhm.
for Casey. Is basically what it comes down to.
Hmm.
I used to work with the flatter out in Brazil. She was really, really good. Um, but I can't. I'm not in a position to be able to afford to pay someone to do flats every time. So Brandon, you come in. You work cheap, and he needs to learn Photoshop. So, I
That
think.
whole statement.
Yeah, well, I can't afford, man. I mean, like, what am I
I used
supposed to
to
do?
work with this other girl. She was amazing,
She
and then
was amazing. I wish I
now you
could
got.
afford it. I know, and honestly, if I was able to plan that Star Wars piece out, I would have sent it to her because of the complexity of it. You know,
Well,
um,
you showed me after how to use the.
right. But that being said, that probably was a bit above your like skill level for the time. I know how much time you were taking. You know what
Mhm.
I mean to do it. So like my thing was, well, if I got a really super complicated piece, I'll kick it to her. And then these simple one-off things, I mean you need to learn Photoshop anyway. And when I say learn Photoshop, I don't mean how to turn it on and draw and shit. I mean how to use it to select things, make masks, make them so that the selections
Trap colors.
don't have any aliased edges, so when you select the color, things don't feather into one another.
For anyone doing flats, make sure you use the lasso tool, and make sure you turn off anti-alias.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you will get what'd you call it, halo or
you'll get
brush
these feathered edges. You can't see the
feather.
pixels, but what happens is every time you select the color, you're going to get these jaggies when you fill it back in because your brushes in Photoshop naturally have feathered edges, and that's per pixel. So way down at the pixel level, there'll be these little gray, 20% gray edges, these little feathered edges. And when you're trying to make someone's face, from brown to pink, you don't want the outside of that selection to also add these little like, what do they call those? Halos. They're called
Yeah,
halos. These little crispy things where you're constantly cleaning up your selections over and over. So
but
his
I think
stuff is set up for
So
flats.
the
Yeah,
anti-alias, is that on the lasso tool or is that
yeah.
on
Well,
the
if you go
brush
to the
tool?
lasso tool in your toolbar in Photoshop, you'll get some options that appear anytime you click on a tool, right? And there's
Mhm.
an anti-alias box. Its default selection is anti-aliased. Uncheck that. So
when you're doing flats.
when you make
Yeah.
selections, the lasso tool it'll then look really blocky, like pixely, like square, 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 square. And that's what you want. You don't want anything feathering in to another color.
So and you want the anti-alias box checked or un
Unchecked. You want it turned off.
Okay,
You
that's what
want
it was.
no
Okay, I was trying to make
anti-alias.
sure.
Anti-aliasing means smooth. You don't want it smooth. You want
Yeah.
it jaggy.
Okay.
And that
Yeah.
includes if you use the
Oh,
pen
gotcha.
tool. If you use the pen tool, do you use the pen tool ever?
No.
Well, folks, if you use the pen tool to make selections, sometimes I do too. Like I learned how to do that doing t-shirts. And you're going to use them for flats. When you go to make selection from your path, you need to also make sure those options are set with anti-alias turned off. So what were you saying, Ashley?
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure I'm doing flats the right way. I mean, do you how okay, how do you take on flats? Like, do you
Yeah, Rob.
just well, I guess both of y'all.
Well,
I
I'll
mean,
Uh,
explain. I'll explain the process, right? So the process is I develop an image in color. Well, first silhouette, and then I block in everything with blobs of color.
mhm.
Okay. Um, Sometimes I'll grayscale that again once I kind of get my color scheme and work out. But I work out what it's going to look like in what I call a color roughy, so that
Right.
I have a clear goal of what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not trying to figure out color after I've drawn things. I know what's going to be drawn, what's going to be painted. When I get everything drawn and things need to be then flattened, they need it, sorry, flattened. They need to have the flats made up, which are a way of selecting your character, setting your characters up with flat colors so that they can be selected while you paint. It doesn't matter if it's cel shaded or painted digitally, you still need those selections. I have Brandon do that, but with them, what I do, or say a flatter, I then also show them my color roughy so they know what I'm trying to achieve. And if there's any other reference they need, that reference will be in the art. So, case in point, on the Star Wars piece, with all those game boxes, I made certain to tell him do not go and highlight every little fucking. Don't paint in every logo, every character. Just make the box one color because I'm going to do some digital painting tricks on that. You don't have to kill yourself on that thing.
Mhm.
My flatter from Brazil, when she did the Bombcat one that's up on the Deviant, the Smash Brothers. She initially went in and painted all the boxes and the logos. I was like, no, don't, and I felt so bad because that's very tedious.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I basically do is I just go in and base color everything. Like first I'll probably block in one large color and then I'll go in and just color every everything that's different, everything that's going to be a different color. Is that the correct way to do it, or am
You
I
want
just
your characters first. So I'll have it so the characters are set up for the entire character. So I can select the whole character. And then I want the areas that I need for selection to be filled in. So the skin should be one particular thing, the shirt, the legs, the boots. If I
okay?
don't need, um, say it's like a very detailed piece with tons of little, bolts and nuts. I don't need every little bolt and nut
Right,
perfectly
and
cut.
I do that too. I'm like, I can't, and that makes no sense. Yeah, so
And I
I
would have
understand.
Brandon do that. I would just be like, give me the parts I need selected. And then he
Yeah.
sort of learns, right, Brandon, through trial and
Hmm.
error, what was
Yeah.
a waste of your time and what isn't, you know?
And I think, and it moved a lot faster once after the Star Wars piece, you actually took because I didn't know what I was really doing with the flats until I said, all right, Rob, can we just take like 40 minutes, an hour, whatever, and go through it? And he showed me how to, just using the lasso tool. I knew how to use lasso tool, but just the way to do flats quicker, trap the colors, things like that, that made it work a lot faster with the Casey
I
Jones.
think when it comes to setting up flats, you should think about it in the same way that you set up a digital painting, in that you have foreground, middle ground, background.
Hmm.
So you got you immediately can block in what's the foreground elements that could get one color, what's the middle ground that can get one, what's the background that can get one. So then you have those selections, and then from there you got your main character, that can be a sole thing, and then you work in the smaller pieces after that. And then Brandon would then kick that to me, and then I take the time to make certain using those selections. Then I'll go and make sure everything gets a base color that needs
Hmm.
the color that the character would actually have. It wouldn't look neon. Casey Jones would have a cream mask and a
Okay.
blue jeans. You know what I mean? And I do that.
Yeah.
I do that part myself. I don't
But
want anyone else doing that.
that's easy because all you have to do is just select it and then just paint what's selected instead of like because I think what I'm trying to ask is like I'm not I'm not wasting time by basically going in and having to do like a coloring book thing and color all the lines. I mean that's how you do it, right? There's
I
no
don't actually like when I want colored lines. The way I found
not
the
not not colored lines. I mean like coloring in the lines. Like basically you're coloring a color book, coloring like you're coloring a image.
you're
Oh,
not
are you?
wasting the time because you need to select. Let's say you need to select the skin. You got a girl, right? You need to select her skin
Mhm.
areas, right? Arms, face, legs. How are you supposed to do that? You don't want to keep making selections while you work.
Right. No, yeah, I mean,
Those are selection flats. So even if it was to be like when you paint, you tend to have like a painted, digital painted look, right? A lot of
mhm,
blended brush strokes. You're still going to need those selections. You know what I mean? Like you're still going to need those selection flats while you work. So
mhm.
even if they're going to have, a painted look to them, you still need to be able to select those things. So no, you're not wasting your time doing
Okay.
that at
I
all.
just want to, I'm always doing, I have the habit of doing things that in a much harder way than
Or
that is necessary. So,
What I would do,
um,
if you'd like to, we can do it here or privately, whatever you feel more comfortable with, is when you set up a piece, you can show it to me and we can look and see, if you're overdoing it,
okay.
because I think that would be the best. Because believe me when I say I have,
Yeah.
I have taken the long ass shortcut, like the long way around.
I'm just
I
like,
took
I just want to know if I'm like doing, I'm like, is there an easier way? Or am I just, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you fill in your flats, are you using the lasso tool or using like the brush tool?
Using the brush tool.
yeah.
Right.
That's
So that
bad.
see this. So you're saying when you were just telling him, were you saying that you are coloring in, let's say a person's face with the brush tool, and you're coloring it in like a crayon, like a coloring book?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
taking
Okay. See,
forever.
that's
Yeah.
that's what I thought you were saying. Okay. See, I used to do that. That's what I did when I first did the first flats for Rob. I
It,
was using the brush tool, and I would sit there and I would color in around the edges. Then I'd fill in the middle, and then I'd clean up that little leftover
And then
white
when I go
area,
to
and you'd
right.
get.
reselect the face, and I fill it in with the color or start airbrushing, I get these halos. And then you can see it on the Splinter real time. Right now, I'm gonna make a speed paint, but if you look at the Splinter one in the real time painting that I recently put up, you can see me complaining, these fucking halos. You know what I mean? I had to
Yeah. And
show
I know what
Brandon.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're saying with the selection tool, like you just,
You need it to have no anti-alias just means a feathered edge,
okay.
right? It makes it smooth. In a video game, anti-alias when they go, it has anti-aliasing. That means you don't get those little jaggies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we need jaggies here because it's underneath line art, right?
Yeah.
And so when it's underneath the line art, we can't have the color bleeding out from those lines.
Right.
And so if they have feathered edges, guess what happens? They bleed out from those lines. We don't want that. We want them to stay within the
Yeah,
selections.
and I've found that when I I'm like, oh, I want to change this color, so I'll select it, and then I paint over it. I get that those it pops out of the lines. I have to go back in and
Yeah, that's why.
erase it, and that's
Yeah,
that
that's
happens.
that's why. So
Yeah.
like I said, next time you got something all set up, or maybe that thing we talked about, we can do it
Uh-huh.
on that one. Then we can go through that one, and then, you know what I mean? Make sure you're not doing anything more than you need to do. You know?
Right.
So we can make a whole art tip video because people have all sorts
Yeah.
of questions about
Yeah,
things like
because
this.
like I mean, I don't I'm just self-taught. So when you're self-taught, you learn things your own way, and then sometimes you're like, that's probably not the best way, So that's why.
That's all I am up until
Yeah.
working with Rob is.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like working with Rob. He's helping me, but he also has to break these bad habits that I've taught myself by
Mhm.
trying to cut corners because I don't know any better. It's like a bad diet, which Rob still tries to break me on that as well. But
Yeah, eat fruit,
my,
Brandon. So
all right,
okay, let's
Oh yeah.
pick your first topic, Rob. Your very
my first
first one.
topic. Well, how far are we
Mm-mm.
in this, man? We're already 30 minutes in, dude. I don't know if we
Pick
have much more time.
pick the first one.
No,
Say
we,
it.
we don't have much time. So, I can pick one thing here. Ah, man,
Pick the
I think
top
I
one.
should do a whole episode on that, dude. I don't know if we got time to do that.
we
15 minutes. 10 minutes. Come on.
I think I'm gonna do an episode later this week on that. All right, I wanna make a whole episode just devoted to that topic. So, let me talk to you about something else really quick. I want to talk to you about weekend deadlines. Now, for the longest time, I took a year off from doing any freelance for anybody, and a few of my publishers were like, "You're really just hurting yourself, dude." And I couldn't begin to describe to them how I didn't feel that was true because it never seems to fail that no matter how much lead time you're supposed to get on a project, they will always make it so you got to work your fucking weekend all the way through till Monday to get their shit done. I don't understand why this is, I don't get why. I don't understand it, Brandon. I don't understand, like, even now I do these covers once a month, and because there's a situation where the people who make approvals are taking forever, so they want a lot more lead time, and they're like, we really need it by like Monday. And I'm like, it's fucking Friday, dude. Like, like have
Yeah.
no, like, you have. I don't have kids, but let's pretend I did. Like, what if I'm 37, dude. Like you need this fucking thing by Monday. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like it's going to the printer on Tuesday. I don't understand why this is universally this way. Like, and I started thinking maybe it's because I take too long doing cover art. But then naturally I go on the internet, I dig around, I look up, and I'm seeing that the average time people take when they're drawing and coloring their own covers is anywhere between 18 and 30 hours. If you can get someone to actually admit how long it took
Mm-hmm.
to do, right? They don't bullshit you, I just fucking did it in a few days. No, it's no big deal. It's somewhere between, I'd say at the minimum, 12 to draw and color something. But
Oh
the
yeah.
average time is about 18 hours, which I'm already hitting. So I'm like, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm just sitting here working on this, and I enjoy working on the project. I was the one who was like championed me being a part of it. But I'm telling you, man, I don't know like how many more of these fucking I gotta devote my entire. And let me tell you what happens, folks. Right? When you get something like this, they put you on a project. It's due by Monday. You want to know what happens? It never gets done on time. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole fucking weekend you're sitting there overthinking every line. Oh, this isn't right, or this isn't right, or I don't know. I don't, I don't know, man. Like I've worked under so many rush deadlines before, especially like in graphic design. And you've been there, Brandon. You saw what that was like.
Oh yeah.
Brandon got a week once, Ashley, working with me, and I watched him just basically break down. And I don't blame him. I'm not blaming Brandon. The process is very grueling. But to make art out of nothing, come on. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
takes a long time.
and we're
Yeah.
talking like I got at least a dozen characters here to draw. Like, and color and everything else. And I'm just like, fucking Monday. You can't give me till Friday, the end of the week.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand. And this. No one publisher is innocent or solely guilty of this. It never. And what would happen when I was working in t-shirts? So Brandon, you were there. So you'd see me never leave before 9, right?
Yeah. I didn't leave till you left.
And I usually left till like midnight. So the earliest we left was 9 o'clock. So I'm there till
Mm-hmm.
9. I got a hour's drive, in no traffic. When there is traffic, it could be almost 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I got an hour's drive. That means I'm home by 10:30. And then I'm back drawing till 2 a.m. And Brandon's seeing that. That's every fucking. So what happens when it's a weekend, dude? You know what I mean? Like, I'm there till midnight. I don't get home till 1. I can get something done by 3, but then I have to get up in 6 hours. I'm working my entire weekend from 6 a.m. till midnight to push a cover out. Like, I don't know, guys. I
Yeah,
don't see how much money are we talking about here? Like, J. Scott Campbell makes, this is what I heard, folks, upwards of thousands of dollars per cover, right? And
that's
not
what
just
I
him,
heard.
right? So let's just say a guy makes, I don't know, 3 grand a cover, right? That's a figment, and I've just made the number up. Let's say he makes 3 grand. I could understand. All right, man, I could hustle for 3 grand that weekend. That'd be something pretty good. When it's a
Right.
couple $100, dude, like I'm like, what fucking? I don't know, folks. Like, am I nuts for not wanting to be a part of that system? Like the 2 day fucking create us something that we're gonna go market our whole shit under. And by the way, I don't know, folks. I don't. You two are young, right? Like, still, like Brandon less so, but like, and I don't want to put you off from doing freelance because you might find ways through this. But I'm telling you, 10 years in, I haven't found a short of me drawing like Sean Galloway, like I can't find an easy way through this. Like I don't know. I don't know what to
Not
do.
to say his way of drawing is easy, just
No, but it'd be far less complex than what I. By the way, I couldn't. Here's the thing, right? When you have a very stylized, simplistic, and his stuff is simple and it's detail, but not in its construction. Its construction is very solid. But I'll tell you, publishers always go, Rob, draw like him. You won't have to try as hard. That's quote unquote. I'm like, so we all gotta look like Sean Galloway, and then he's gonna be pissed at me for dude. He phased my shit. He knows my friends. You know what I mean? Like, then I gotta be like, Rob fucking bites off my shit. Like, which I've heard the dude say. You've been there at cons when he complains how everyone janks his art style. Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you why. It seems to be the only way to make a fucking deadline. And then half after that, you turn in his art. You know what they say, licensors? We don't want our characters looking like that. I mean, folks, I don't know. Like, I just now finished the line arts that I should have had done Saturday
Yeah.
night. And I still got to do my own flats because I can't expect Brandon to fucking bust those out tonight. Like, Brandon has a real job, man. He has to get up in the morning and, what do you lift furniture or something?
I basically work, pick up, deliver, work on furniture, patio
So,
furniture,
he's got
big
a
metal
physical,
stuff.
he's got a back-breaking job, man. And this is like, I can't keep the guy up till 3 a.m. while I'm sitting there working on other shit. So it's like, fuck it, I'll just eat the 3 hours and get the flats done myself. And they won't be perfect. I'll be cleaning up my own fucking mess. But, you know, um, I don't know. Like, I'm lamenting, folks. Like, it doesn't seem to end. And I'm a very regimented person. I work from a certain time to a certain time. You know,
The worst
and
part too is they'll ask you to get it done by Monday. You'll bust your ass, you'll get it done by Monday. Then you won't hear from 'em for a day or two. Then they'll get back to you and they'll say, "Oh, hey, can you change this?" It's like,
And I know they just want it to get approvals. And my point is, they haven't really approved the roughie yet.
uh-huh.
Here's the final lines. That should be enough. You know what I mean? To wait on approval while I finish the rendering on
Yeah.
my own sweet time this week. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't
I
know.
I think the way like Ashley's doing it with her create her own characters, which I love. I love
Thank you.
the I don't know the name of it, but that robot guy you
Oh
posted
yeah,
today.
IR
Yeah,
86.
yeah, that shit's badass. And
Thank
I
you.
think you're gonna get work. That's a given. You're gonna get work in the future. It's gonna happen. But I think making your own stuff is gonna be an extremely far better way for you to go with Kickstarter and all that other things. And also, take freelance on the side, but not try to pursue. I would imagine full time at that. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
Just
no,
seeing what
I
Rob
take
does.
I
so take
yeah.
select projects, right?
Right.
Is what he's saying,
Yeah.
right? In
I
which
don't
go ahead.
I couldn't do freelance full time like what you're talking about. Yeah, that would be pretty hard. I
It
mean,
drains you.
yeah.
Yeah, right now, like some of my guys, like Tom and those dudes, man, they give you like at least a month or two before they need
See,
something.
yeah, now that's awesome.
Which is fine. But this This is just, and then I'm like up at 2 in the morning and, I'm like, we're working on unreasonable deadlines. My friend's like, but you're living the dream. And I'm like, the dream? The dream? Like, the dream was never to have to work. Like, just draw, man, like, this is work, and this isn't the dream. Like, the dream. The dream is I get to have superpowers and fly. Like, that's the dream. Or I don't have giant ears that stick out. Like, that's the fucking dream. The reality is, folks, is sometimes, no matter how much effort you put into some shit, it's going to be work. And I don't mind this, but I don't know, I've yet to work with any publisher that didn't do this, and then wonder why you don't want to take on more. Like, I mean, some people, if I was one of those cats that just had a style that threw in that style no matter what they worked on, I get it. You know, I could just John Romita Jr. this shit, and fucking who cares? But like I guess I can't. I don't know. Like I'm stuck. I'm like I hate that kind of art. Like I hate that art. I don't want to be that guy. Like
Yeah.
20. That guy did 26 variant covers this month for DC,
Jeez.
and they're all shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
sorry. They're all
Well,
shit.
that's what they talk about Jack Kirby being a machine. He may have, but it's like it's not like when I look at your art, it's like yours is very complex, very, and like some of these guys, they're good and they can draw like the body, they can draw the actions and whatnot, but it's just it's simpler,
Hey,
you know.
believe me, if I just diminish my standard and just cranked out a bunch of giant fists like this, coming at you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and all the men and the women have the same face, then yeah, I guess I could get a lot of shit done really quickly. But that's not what attracted me to art ever. Like I liked bone. I guess
Mhm.
I had to learn how to fucking draw. Like so I don't know, man. Like I mean, we got respect for the people that came before us, but the reality is um, you're either one of two artists. You're the kind that cranks a lot of shit out, or the kind that takes a little bit longer. And I'm in the second half. And it's moments like this, that I'm just like, it's the cover. Are the interiors done yet? Like, I always want to have those conversations. Like, are the interiors done yet? Like, what's actually done? Am I the only one cranking out something that really and by the way, if it's the thing you're going to use to sell your thing, like perhaps a few extra days would benefit everybody.
This Rob rant was brought to you by SketchCraft.
Yeah, watch tomorrow. You're dropped from the book. Like, then I'd be like, ooh, like, oh, ruined. Because at this point, folks, like anything I'm doing for freelance is really because I'm just trying to like have what they call. I was told I'm not relevant. Like that's the quote unquote word I was told by a publisher. And so it's like, all right, I'll do something that makes me relevant. Um, but no one ever knows. Like I just did like the Skylanders issue 5 is coming out. Supercharged did the cover.
Hmm.
I actually have interior art in that issue. I'm not listed anywhere.
What?
I'm the cover and I have 4 pages that I drew in there, and I'm not on anywhere in terms of like credits. Maybe like I think in the interior bottom it says drew fucking 4 pages. But that being said, on the cover my name ain't on there, but a bunch of fucking other people, you know what I mean, are. And people are like, how come your name's not on the cover? I'm like, well, cover artists never get credit on the covers.
Mhm.
Isn't that weird? Right? And every time I put my
Yeah.
signature on a cover, I'm told to take it off. That's never stopped. Right? Brandon's seen it, like I'm always
Yeah.
told to take, and I have my initials say rad. Like you think the one signature that maybe would be cool on your cover, can't use it. So, whatever. Anyways, folks, it's been a long episode. We gotta go.
Hold on. Wait, one more thing. Just want to plug this in each thing so people know because they always say we don't let them know. February 12th through the 14th, I believe, is the date. I have to double check for sure. Is Amazing Arizona Comic Con. They
Brandon,
got
I
a
want you to put together a show notes for conventions. I want you to download the old episodes of the podcast, put together, and we're gonna make a new convention cast. All right, we got to put together, and we can promote
okay.
this fucking thing. But
It
you
will
need to
be
bring that up at the beginning of the podcast.
so everyone. Make sure you come see me and Rob at Amazing Arizona Comic Con at the Phoenix Convention Center on Valentine's weekend.
Yeah. What a great weekend. The
And
Deadpool weekend,
yep,
right?
Deadpool comes out this week that weekend. And you could find me, Brandon James, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Lead Heavy. You could find Ashley.
Uh,
Uh, you can find me on YouTube,
See, Brandon
Facebook,
threw off the rhythm. Normally I do all this.
YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram as Gang Feather.
Yep.
Thank you, Brandon, for taking the initiative. I'll have a talk to you about that. So, as always, folks, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know how it works. You subscribe, we get subscribers. YouTube says you're awesome. We get bonus points. Helps pay for all this, and basically these pens and pencils and shit I use to make drawings. Also, don't forget sketchcraft.com. Takes you right to the Facebook, Twitter at sketchcraft. That's like Minecraft, but the word sketch. Sketchcraft. CRAFT.com. Don't forget, folks, Sketchcraft is recorded for the live internet audience and fully supported by viewers like you. Please leave your comments and feedback below. And we'll see you on the next Sketchcraft Live. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.